Reborn as a noble with overwhelming debt in a massive space empire, Liam gives the universe the middle finger and vows to become the ultimate evil lord. Determined to use his powers for villainy, he starts wreaking havoc by exploiting his powers, but no matter how evil his actions, they somehow always end up benefiting the very empire he's trying to destroy. Villainy has never been so frustrating. This story begins with Liam, a pathetic middle-aged loser who lives a boring life with his ungrateful wife and child, who only know how to take but never give back. Still, as a responsible husband and father, Liam takes days off from work whenever he can to spend time with his family. He sacrifices his own dreams and passions for his daughter, Konami, and buys her everything she desires, whether he can afford it or not. One day, Liam's boss calls him to his office and scolds him for something he didn't even do, but he tolerates the toxic environment of his company, his boss, and his colleagues to provide for his family. His love for them is what gives him the strength to keep going, but everything falls apart when he comes across his wife, Mika, having lunch with an unknown man and giggling when she is supposed to be with their daughter, Konami, at the sports club. Leah doesn't confront Mika at the moment and returns home later, where he questions her about her day at the sports club. As she and Konami both vouch for one another, Liam forgets about it, thinking that maybe he shouldn't suspect his wife, who has been so loyal to him. He continues working restlessly, but the tiniest of doubts still remains in his heart, and so to get rid of this unsettling feeling, he visits the place where he found Mika with another man the next day and once again finds her there, this time with Konami as well. He eavesdrops on her conversation with a man over the phone when Konami mentions that they are here to meet with her papa. This confuses Liam because Konami only refers to him as her papa, so he keeps following them until Mika's lover enters the scene, and both the mother and daughter act like he is the man of their house. Unable to accept reality, Liam convinces himself that Mika isn't cheating on him and keeps working his ass off to feed his family. He gets a call from Mika, who informs him of the sudden bad news that Konami has been in an accident, so he rushes to the hospital and learns that his daughter is currently undergoing surgery. The doctor arrives, informing Liam and Mika that Konami is in grave need of a blood transfusion, and as it just so happens, her blood type is O positive. Only Mika's blood type matches Konami's, so she enters the operating theater while Liam becomes more and more doubtful outside. His blood type is AB positive, and scientifically, it's impossible for a father with AB positive blood to have a child with O type blood. This shocking revelation makes it clear to Liam that Konami is not his child, and unable to accept it, he confronts Mika after Konami's recovery, imploring her to tell him the truth. However, instead of acting guilty, Mika gaslights him, saying that he never cares for the family and never spends any time with them at all. He tries to make his point, saying he only works to provide food and shelter for them, but Mika stays firm on her stance, saying his job isn't any good and isn't enough to provide Konami with a quality education. She reminds him how he promised before their marriage that he would always keep her happy, but he has failed to keep that promise for the past 10 years. According to her, all this time, she has felt like a single mother since Liam was never there for them, and that is why she doesn't consider Liam to be a part of her family any longer. Honestly, all that gaslighting instead of answering who Konami's father is or whether she has been cheating on him. Anyway, Mika has had enough. If she stays here any longer, she might actually start to feel guilty, so she gets up, deciding to abandon this house forever with Konami and stay with her new papa instead. Liam begs Mika to be rational and requests Konami to take his side, but even the little devil betrays him, stating that she likes her other papa more than him. With his family falling apart, Liam's work life also takes a turn for the worse. His boss accuses him of embezzling the company's money to an unidentified bank account, making him realize that when he rushed off to the hospital a few days ago, he accidentally left his PC open, and someone might have transferred the money from his PC. But having no proof of that, Liam faces the punishment and not only gets fired, but is forced to work as a manual laborer to repay the company's lost funds. Mika uses Liam's poor financial condition as an excuse to file for divorce, not only getting full custody of Konami, but also demanding child support from him, not knowing how he is ever going to pay his debt. Liam tries escaping reality by watching his favorite robot mecha anime with one of his old friends, but his broken heart doesn't allow him to do that either. He can only hope that things will get better if he works hard, and that he will get to see his daughter again, even though she prefers the other dad. He believes all his hardships and sacrifices will be rewarded by God, but God has other plans, as he blesses him with a disease that slowly starts killing him internally. With no insurance and no money to afford treatment, Liam finally gives up when a blinding light appears before his eyes, showing him that it was none other than his own boss who embezzled the company's money from his PC. Not only that, but the person Mika has been having an affair with is also his boss. The scene shows both Mika and Liam's boss celebrating Liam's misery, which rips him apart from the inside, making him plead to the gods to let this nightmare be just a bad dream. At that moment, a mysterious figure appears before Liam, stating that everything he was shown is the truth. Liam screams in agony, wanting revenge on those who have wronged him, which only makes the mysterious figure more entertained. The figure states that he has taken an interest in Liam because Liam is a good man, but Liam no longer cares about being good, as everyone has screwed him over for having that trait. Assuming that this figure is some kind of deity, Liam requests him to bestow upon him a second life where he can do whatever he wants. This time, he wants to become the ultimate villain who will walk all over everyone else. The mysterious deity accepts and gives him the option to choose from 5 different worlds to be reincarnated into, among fantasy, supernatural, period drama, Wild West, Jurassic Era, and finally, robots and space battleships. Liam chooses the space battleships one, as it reminds him of the days he spent with his old friends discussing these types of anime. The deity accepts and tells Liam that this is a sci-fi fantasy world where both science and magic coexist, and that he will be born into the house of a count who rules a planet. As Liam signs the contract, the deity sends his vengeful soul to become the ruler of robots and the ultimate space bully. As Liam opens his eyes, he finds himself inside the body of a young child lying on the terrace of what looks like a mansion that hasn't been touched in decades. Just as the mysterious deity said before, Liam is now on a planet named Hydra, ruled by his father Count Banfield. The residential estates are completely surrounded by plants, including Liam's own home, which looks like a dystopian Christmas tree-themed house. As Liam heads inside, his mom surprises him, wishing him a happy 5th birthday. Using transportation magic, she takes him to another room to show him the royal cake prepared for his birthday and gives him his present. He opens the large gift box, only to find a small device hanging inside, which his mom claims is an order sheet for an AI-made robot. Liam doesn't understand much and presses a random button on the gadget, causing a character customization screen to pop up. To summarize, he now has to choose the appearance of the maid. As he goes through the long selection process, his mom explains that after picking a model, he will have to send the order sheet to the manufacturer to receive his unique AI-made robot. She casually mentions that he must also select the maid's private parts. Although this is extremely inappropriate, she acts as if it is completely normal. Liam's dad enters as well, and, as a birthday present, makes Liam the new head of the family with the additional condition that both parents get to live the rest of their lives on the Imperial home planet. He assures Liam that not having them around will give him more autonomy. They also mention that Liam must provide them with a monthly allowance so they can live in peace. Liam agrees to all of these terms, prompting his father to call the Grand Chamberlain with the official paperwork, handing the house over to his 5-year-old child. Liam doesn't question anything and, as he signs the contract, his father mentions one last thing. From now on, his maid will be the one taking care of him. With that settled, both of his parents run off as if they just got rid of a huge burden, leaving Liam questioning what just happened. He gained power, influence, and wealth, everything a man could ask for in the blink of an eye. But at the same time, he feels like he lost everything as well. However, since Liam retains all of his past life's memories, he is an adult inside and doesn't need new parents to babysit him. His goal now is to become an evil lord and exploit everything around him. He is grateful to the deity for granting him a second life and thanks him wholeheartedly. But what he doesn't know is that the reason his original life was in ruins is all thanks to the same deity, who manipulated both his wife Mika and his boss purely for entertainment. With Liam's show coming to an end, the deity decides it's time for Mika and Liam's boss to suffer as well. With a simple snap of his fingers, Liam's boss gets arrested by the police for embezzling company funds. With him gone, Miss Gold Digger loses her gold, marking the beginning of her downfall. This kicks off another entertaining show for the evil deity. The deity reveals that he feeds on resentment, anger, hatred, and despair, basically all negative emotions. That is why he sent Liam to that isekai world, craving more entertainment from him. As the deity opens another dimensional door to leave after sending Liam's soul away, a divine cat sneakily enters the room before leaving just as the door is about to close. Not sure what just happened, but the cat must have some importance to the story. Back in Liam's parallel universe, a space war has broken out because this bald nincompoop wanted to show off his Go's pirate crew's firepower. His mecha robots are about to overpower the enemies when suddenly, Christiana, the first princess knight of the Holy Kingdom of Lieb, enters the arena and slices down all of the enemy troops like cutting through butter. She dodges the frontal assault with ease, and with her leading the charge, it doesn't take long for the enemy frontline to be completely wiped out. The pirates start to retreat, realizing that they cannot win this war, but the princess doesn't allow them to escape, as she wishes to make each and every one of them regret messing with her kingdom. Meanwhile, Liam receives his personalized AI-made robot, delivered inside a large doll package. With a simple touch, the package transforms into a generic-looking maid who introduces herself as Amagi. Wasting no time, Liam immediately starts feeling up his new maid's melons, brushing it off as a thorough inspection of the goods when questioned by his chamberlain. Wanting to continue his inspection session in private, he takes Amagi to his playroom and does absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Trust me on that. Later that night, Liam puts Amagi to work, making her do everything for him, preparing tea, giving massages, and even bathing him. At this rate, it will not be long before this fit kid turns into a KFC uncle. The Grand Chamberlain, still stressed about what might have happened in the playroom earlier, watches Liam with growing concern. Noticing his unease, Liam reassures him, saying there is nothing to worry about despite his 5-year-old body. His mind is that of a 36-year-old adult. Hearing this, Amagi corrects him, explaining that in this empire, adulthood is officially recognized at age 50, though most people do not consider themselves true adults until they have crossed the 100-year mark. She also mentions that humans here live for 500 to 600 years, which suddenly makes sense to Liam, considering how much this world prioritizes environmental conservation. Everything around them is green and well preserved. Seeing Liam getting a little too comfortable with the AI, the Grand Chamberlain steps in, warning him that the Empire despises artificial intelligence. If a noble like Liam is seen getting too close to an AI doll, rumors will spread. Curious, Liam asks him to elaborate, so the Chamberlain explains how humanity was nearly wiped out by AI in the past. Liam, confused, asks if they had not been programmed with the 3 fundamental laws of robotics. However, the Chamberlain looks at him blankly, completely unaware of what Liam means. At that moment, Liam realizes exactly where things went wrong in this world. The old man continues his story, explaining that during those dark times, a group of brave warriors fought against the rogue AI and miraculously won, eventually founding the Empire. This raises a major question: if the Empire despises AI so much, why would Liam's mother gift him something that could bring trouble? The Grand Chamberlain hesitates at first, but since Liam is now the new master, he finally speaks the harsh truth. Liam's parents have abandoned him and fled, leaving him to inherit the massive debts that have weighed on their family for generations. Apparently, Liam's great-grandfather was a wise ruler, but he failed to raise his heir properly. That heir squandered everything, and since then, the family's debts have only continued to pile up. The Chamberlain predicts that things will only go downhill from here for this planet, and after learning this newfound information, Liam wonders how he is supposed to become an evil lord when he possesses neither wealth nor power. Meanwhile, somewhere in a bar, people begin discussing their new lord, Liam, questioning whether the common folk will forever be at the mercy of the nobles. The bartender lady remains hopeful, believing that a 5-year-old child couldn't possibly be as wicked as the previous lords. However, the others strongly disagree, convinced that this country is bound to experience yet another era of suffering. Going back to Liam, he still cannot comprehend why a mere 5-year-old like him is being burdened with such heavy responsibilities. He begins to suspect that his parents only gave birth to him so they could transfer all their debts onto him. The Chamberlain confirms this to be true, making Liam wonder if he is destined to be used, abused, and discarded just like in his previous life. Since both he and Amagi seem to be outcasts in this world, Liam proposes that they join forces for survival. He takes an oath to gain power and show everyone who is in charge, once again inviting Amagi to stand beside him as his partner. However, Amagi reminds him that her sole duty is to serve him as his maid, not as his equal. She is prepared to do whatever is necessary to satisfy his needs, and tells him to feel free to command her as he pleases. Just in case Amagi ever goes rogue, Liam establishes his own version of the 3 laws of robotics, naming them the 3 laws of maid robots. First, she cannot harm her master or cause anything that might lead to his harm. Second, she must obey all of her master's orders unless they contradict the first law. Third, she must protect her own existence as long as doing so does not conflict with the previous laws. Afterward, Liam turns to Amagi for advice, believing that as an AI, she should have vast knowledge about administration and governance. She suggests that they make use of an education capsule. Apparently, by using this capsule, Liam can install 10 years worth of knowledge into his brain in just 6 months, while also strengthening his body. Liking the idea, Liam decides to go through with it and assigns Amagi the role of overseeing his domain, putting her in charge of the territory. The Grand Chamberlain strongly opposes this decision, but he fails to win an argument against the combined wit of Liam and the advanced intelligence of an AI. With everything settled, Liam prepares to enter the education capsule. Before beginning the process, he asks Amagi one final question: do AI in this world have emotions? Even here, AI can mimic human behavior, and just for the sake of the anime, yes, she does have emotions. Leaving everything in her hands, Liam steps into the capsule, going into cryo sleep for the next 6 months. The mysterious deity who claims to be the guide is a detached being who feeds on negative emotions, having already been done with Liam, his wife, and her lover, and now looking for his next target. He heads off to Earth again, where he lays his eyes on a young woman who is at a noodle shop about to have the best meal of her life. But as she snaps open the chopstick, it breaks unevenly, which in Japanese culture is considered a bad omen, and is believed to bring misfortune or even death. The reason why the chopsticks broke unevenly is because of the guide deity who is loving how many negative emotions are being generated from her because of such a little thing. Meanwhile, back in Liam's world, Liam's maid Amagi waits for his awakening in front of his education capsule. The capsule opens up, and Liam wakes up, finding out that he's been asleep for 2 years and his physical body has grown and has been strengthened by the night raising program of the capsule. Since it has been only seconds for Liam, he will need time to get used used to his growing, and Amagi suggests that he get some rehabilitation. Afterward, Liam inquires how his territory, Banfield, has been doing, and Amagi shows him the territory's current economic situation. As an AI robot, she has done her part faithfully and has governed Banfield properly, so Liam praises her, but he wants to see the development with his very eyes. So, he heads out with her and becomes greatly astonished learning that she has created a spaceport for Banfield's army. Not only that, she has also built a floating dock in the skies where mobile robots and spaceships can be stationed. Liam eagerly visits the floating dock and is completely amazed by the sight of the mobile knights that he can and will mount in the future. As he expresses his wishes to ride the robot, Amagi arranges it for him, teaching him the basic controls, which are easy to learn. The maneuvering is dependent on magic, and basically, whatever movement Liam will imagine, the robot will move exactly as he wishes. Liam accordingly and carefully descends the mobile knight from its station and walks around with ease. Moments later, he gets bored and asks Amagi if there's any way for him to practice combat using the robot. She arranges it quickly, equips him with a sword and summons Captain Masita of the Banfield army to be Liam's sparring opponent. Liam excitedly takes the offensive and hits Masita's shield with full power, sending him crashing into the ground. Liam realizes that Masita deliberately gave up, and not wanting to be treated like a child by this army man, Liam makes it clear to him that he should take this fight seriously, or he'll face consequences for being disrespectful. So taking the duel seriously, Masita gets up and defends properly, disarming Liam in an instant and pinning him against the ground, ending the match. With this defeat, Liam gets hit with the reality check that he will have to build his own battle skills to become a better pilot. So, he tells his Chamberlain to hook him up with an instructor who will teach him how to become competent in combat. The Chamberlain doesn't think fighting is necessary for a lord, but Liam believes otherwise and no longer wishes to be oppressed by others for being weak. He wants to become the strongest out there in order to achieve his goal of becoming an evil lord and appoints Yasushi, a man with a katana, to be his sensei. Liam introduces himself to Yasushi, expressing his desire to become the best swordsman, which prompts Yasushi to get into a philosophical speech about how there isn't anyone who can be called the best. Amagi becomes skeptical of the cringe man, but Liam tells her not to worry about it and begins his training with Yasushi. The master swordsman first demonstrates a secret technique of what he calls the way of the flash. Gripping the hilt, he slightly unsheathes his sword before sliding it back into place, and in an instant, all of the logs around him split in half. Liam initially believes that the man drew his sword so fast that they couldn't even see it, so he asks Amagi to play the slow-mo video of it, which she recorded with her eyes, only to find out that the man didn't even draw his sword. Assuming that Amagi's high-tech camera couldn't capture Yasushi's technique, Liam becomes even more intrigued and decides to become Yasushi's disciple. However, what he doesn't know is that Yasushi is a scammer and the logs were already cut open by him beforehand. The guide deity watches the entire thing happen from his dimension. Perhaps he is the one who sent Yasushi here, and he eagerly waits to see what this will lead to in the future. On the other side, Christiana, the princess knight, gets a peace talks offering from the enemy pirate gang, so she heads to the enemy base with her battle fleet to speak with the enemy pirate gang's commander, Goz. However, Goz actually never intended to have any peace and only brought her here so he could attack her unguarded home planet, Mysteria. Moments later, thousands of pirate ships approach Christiana's planet, passing through her alliance's defense line, and Goz reveals that the alliance joined hands with him, betraying her because most of them think of her planet as a threat. As the entire combined fleet of the alliance point their weapons at Christiana's spaceship, Goz reveals that it just took him some money to convince the alliance to betray her and makes her realize that her rule ends here. However, he promises to not harm her planet if he listens to what he tells her to do. 3 years have passed since Liam started training under the con man, and of course he hasn't learnt the flash technique because it doesn't exist. He has mastered basic martial arts, but he isn't satisfied at all and wants to learn special techniques that can help him become an overpowered evil lord. Back at Master Usushi's crib, he boasts about how easy it has been to scam Liam, who continues to be clueless about the fact that he is nothing but a bum with no skill at all. He is happy about how much he has gotten and wishes this easy money would keep coming forever. At that moment, Liam returns to ask his master some questions. He pleads with his master to teach him a complicated technique called the technique of the way of the flash. Hearing this, Master Yasushi banishes him from the school as punishment for his continued insistence on wanting to learn an advanced technique when he hasn't fully mastered the basics. Immediately, Liam pleads with his master to forgive his ignorance and admits to being a fool, which he clearly is. He begs not to be kicked out and Master Yasushi stylishly listens to his plea since he didn't want his money source to run dry. After being forgiven, Liam hurriedly leaves his master alone. Noticing that he has left, Master Yasushi breaks out of his elegant character and acknowledges that he has completely no idea about the technique Liam has asked him to teach. Just then, Liam returns again to offer him some extra money as an apology, and the hungry master accepts. When Liam finally leaves, he is very excited about the extra cash he would be getting. While he is excited, Liam returns again to inform him that he won't be available for classes the next day, and Master Yasushi has no problems with that. Of course, he would have no issues with his favorite money bag not coming for his pointless classes. Back at his palace, Liam takes an elegant position on his throne as he laments on the stress of learning. At that moment, Imagine informs him about Themon's economic report with debts remaining the same. However, since production and sales are growing, all seems to be well. Liam acknowledges Liam for her hard work and considers leaving the government to her more often. As pleased as Amagi was to hear this, she apologizes for having a low growth rate that they had expected. She shows him a report on the welfare program and laments on how the results have gone below expectation. Liam finds this surprising and wishes to know who is in charge of this failure. Shortly after, a weird-faced and ugly-looking shorty arrives. Immediately, Liam asks that he states his excuses for such failures. At first, the shorty is surprised about this, but is soon reminded about his concealing and manipulation of finances that shows a clear sign of embezzlement. Hearing this, the shorty defends himself by claiming that Liam is still too young to understand these things. He claims the expenses are necessary, but Liam reminds him that it's a lie. Furthermore, the shorty insists that he had injured those expenses to keep things running. Hearing him litter these lies, Liam asks why he chose to use a different vendor from the one that had been used before, but he claims that the new vendor is better. Stop the cap man. Having gotten tired of these lies, Liam reminds him about his other corrupt practices of bribing vendors. While these accusations continue, Liam's mind runs wild. He considers learning a thing or two from this seemingly talented corrupt official. Unfortunately, the fatty is not as talented as Liam had thought. Imagine informs him about an embezzlement case that had happened earlier which involved a subordinate of the shorty. Although he claims that this was entirely the work of his subordinate as the case stated, Liam and Omego believe that he had only framed his subordinate to get away with it, especially considering the fact that the embezzled funds were never recovered. When Liam hears this, he is angry at the shorty for intentionally ice-skaying his subordinate to get away with the embezzlement. Scared, the short fatty claims that it's all lies and pleads with Liam not to trust dolls like Omego since they were the enemies of mankind. In a fit of rage, Liam picks up his sword and slowly walks towards the fatties, demanding to know if he loves to ice-sky his subordinates. Watching Liam walk to him, the fatty continues to say meaningless things to defend his actions, even aiming that everyone else does this since it keeps business running. Even with all this muttering, Liam unsheathes his sword. When this happens, the fatty switches and informs Liam that he is only able to live a luxurious life due to the efforts of lords like him. However, before he could complete such defamatory words, Liam slices the life out of him. He rants at the lifeless lord, letting him know that no one has the right to touch his people or his money except him. Before this could get out of hand, Imagine calms him down. Before then, he orders her to investigate all the corrupt officials. However, she lets him know that doing that would cause more harm than good. On the other hand, she suggests that he prepares a large number of dolls instead, claiming that 30 dolls would serve him more efficiently in things like governance and other subsidiary units to make sure there is progress in the land. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. Although Amagi believes people could have negative things to say about this decision, Liam doesn't seem to care as long as there will be progress. That night, the news begins to spread about how Liam had killed a corrupt official. Also, they talk about how Liam intends to change compulsory education from 3 to 6 years, which has made more construction workers to be assigned to building schools. They believe that Liam is doing a good job, especially considering his young age of 10. Meanwhile, Liam finally tries to control the large transformers-like machines, since he has now mastered martial arts. Unfortunately for him, his fake master arrives just in time to play down his dream of riding the machine by claiming that there is no meaning in using something that every other person can use. Instead, he asks Liam to consider controlling something more powerful which no one else can handle. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. He turns to the captain of the base for ideas and is told about the old non-automatic model of the machines. The captain informs him about the existence of a unit, which his great-grandfather used to pilot, and Liam is so excited about taking after his great-grandfather's machine.
Yasushi goes to a shrine looking for treasures, venting his frustration as he states how annoyed he is by the fact that Liam is actually progressing at a fast pace when the entire training process is supposed to be dubious. He knows he cannot fool Liam for too long, and the only option he has to keep milking this cash cow is by creating more meaningless tasks. He randomly presses his arm against the wall, which triggers a secret mechanism revealing a mobile knight that looks like it is from the ancient age. But for Yasushi, this is exactly what he needs to keep the money coming in by keeping Liam busy. Meanwhile, the evil deity known as the Guide is doing his usual search for negative emotions and heads to Earth, where he finds a guy who is easily offended and gets upset just because his Starbucks order is not quite perfect. The Guide loves the taste of the guy's negative emotions, but he wants something more, something gourmet. Back in Liam's world, Yasushi has already instructed Liam to repair the ancient mobile knight named Avid for his training, and accordingly, Liam has made preparations. Liam is out practicing his master's fake ultimate technique, the Flash, with his butler Brian standing beside him. Brian, although feeling happy because Avid is Liam's great-great-grandfather's unit, still objects because he believes using such an ancient unit is not going to do Liam any good. However, Liam is certain that his piloting skills will be at the very top if he can master the oldest unit out there. Brian, being nosy as ever, tells Liam to stop trying to learn this BS technique, calling it a total waste of time. But Liam is determined that he will improve if he keeps putting in his best efforts and continues training. Amagi, on the other hand, goes to the location of the mobile knight Avid and expresses how skeptical she is of Yasushi and his training methods. She does not even believe that Yasushi is a swordsman at all, but because Liam has ordered her to repair Avid, she has no choice but to do her best to bring this junk back to life. Soon after, Lieutenant Nias Carlin, a weapons factory engineer, arrives with her team at Liam's planet to repair Avid. Liam meets her at the airport to wish her good luck, and as they are speaking, Nias notices Amagi and wonders why an AI doll is standing right beside a count. Liam gets offended seeing Nias' reaction and quickly makes it clear to her that he can possess an AI doll and will punish anyone who questions his way of living. However, he has read Nias' reaction wrong, because Nias is actually a fan of androids and completely nerds out upon seeing Amagi. She is impressed, to say the least, seeing the custom-made features on Amagi and starts touching everywhere like a perv. She almost crosses the line by lifting Amagi's skirt up, but Liam prevents her just in time, telling her not to act inappropriately. Afterward, they head to the warehouse where Avid is placed, and upon first look, Nias comments that this machinery is dead meat and suggests Liam get a new unit instead of wasting his money trying to repair it. But Liam does not want her factory's defect products and makes it clear to her that the only mobile knight he is going to ride is Avid. Nias states that it would be too much of a hassle for her to fix this unit because they do not have its parts in stock. Furthermore, the size of this robot is much bigger than the regular ones, and that is why Nias thinks it will cost Liam a lot if he wants to revive this metal junk. Liam has got all the money he needs, and to fix the problem of the missing parts, he comes up with the idea to replace the old parts with the parts of the latest model to get the best output from Avid. But since Yasushi has strictly ordered Liam to learn how to pilot mobile knights manually, he instructs Nias to keep the controls manual and remove all the assist functions it has. Before leaving, he also asks Nias to add some special moves like a rocket punch that detaches the robot's fist on command, making it fly like a rocket toward its enemy. At that moment, Yasushi comes to the warehouse to see how much progress has been made on Avid's repair. As he lays his eyes on Nias, he is unable to move them away, falling in love at first sight. This pervert finds Nias so perfect in every inappropriate way that his nose bleeds. He quickly wipes his nose, fixes his posture, and comes forward to introduce himself to Nias, but she is so busy talking to Liam that she completely ignores his existence. Yasushi keeps trying, introducing himself and boldly asking her on a date. Yet again, she ignores Yasushi and continues discussing with Liam why it is impossible to add his silly special moves to Avid. To convince Nias, Liam states that he will give her as much money as she needs for the job, and Nias finally agrees, as her original plan from the beginning was to get as much money as possible from Liam. Yasushi becomes super jealous seeing Liam and his love at first sight talking with each other like they are in a rom-com drama, and decides to punish Liam by subjecting him to even more stupid and gruesome training. This time, he comes up with a devious idea, telling Liam to train blindfolded from now on. He places Liam on a flowing river, standing on a slippery log, and while Liam tries to balance himself, Yasushi starts firing dozens of tennis balls from his custom-made tennis ball gun. Of course, what this guy is doing here is hurting Liam on purpose for snatching his could-have-been waifu, but he masks it by saying that this new training will make Liam a better swordsman. Liam finds this training regime super hard, commenting how heavy his sword is with the weights attached to it, but under his master's instructions, he keeps practicing, trying his best to look through his mind's eye to dodge the incoming tennis balls. On the other side, the pirate commander Goaz goes to his battleship's prison cells, where he reveals he has captured many women, including Princess Christiana. He does not explain to any of them what is going on, but tells Christiana specifically to come out as they have arrived at their destination, the Treasure Island. He gets up close to Christiana, revealing that he wants to add her to his treasures because he finds her so beautiful that it makes his entire body tremble. He drags Christiana to the experiment room of his lab assistant and opens the door to the room of his old pets, revealing a disfigured woman who has been defiled and turned into a monster by this twisted pirate. Goaz literally throws her out of the ship and then reveals his intention to make Christiana his new pet. With all the time in the world to torture his new toy, he asks his lab assistant for some suggestions, and the assistant suggests that they cut Christiana's legs first to cripple her completely. Goaz comes up with an even more devious plan to gouge out Christiana's eyes and implant them onto her palms. Christiana, terrified, looks around, finding many test tubes where dozens of disfigured women have been stored by Goaz, meaning that unless a hero comes to save her, she is as good as dead. A couple of weeks pass and Nias completes the repair of Avid, adding tons of customizations according to Liam's orders as well, but the work is not done quite yet. Nias takes Liam inside the cockpit of Avid to show him how to operate this mobile knight. Of course, to do so, she has to take her top off, because otherwise, how is she ever going to show Liam the sacred treasures she possesses? Liam follows her instructions while avoiding eye contact and activates the engine. The robot does a quick scan of Liam, registering him as its pilot, meaning that no one else can operate this unit other than Liam from now on. Liam, excited, tries to take his first step forward but falls over immediately, and Nias explains that Avid does not have any automated assist functions like the auto balancer, and that is why, unlike the new ones, Liam cannot move it with a simple go forward button. But there is an upside to this according to Nias. If Liam somehow manages to master this old piece of junk, he will be able to move it just like he moves his real body. Feeling motivated, Liam gets up and slowly walks forward, this time balancing the mobile knight pretty well. He takes the unit outside of the warehouse when Nias mentions how important it is to maintain a strong mental image to control this robot. To help him focus, she gets closer to him and readjusts his controls when her chug jugs touch him on accident, causing Liam to have an entirely different mental image, resulting in Avid moving his hands as if it wants to feel something. The hand gesture makes Nias realize what Liam is thinking about, but Liam claims that it is not his fault. On the other hand, Yasushi suspects that this guy is abusing his powers and doing unspeakable things to the lieutenant inside the cockpit. However, Brian has tears of joy seeing his master finally interested in a real woman. Yasushi starts cursing Liam and is so enraged that he makes Liam go through even more vigorous training. Days go by, and Liam still cannot perform his master's secret technique, wondering if he lacks the talent for it. Amagi thinks that the actual problem lies in Yasushi's teaching and tells Liam how much she has been questioning Yasushi's credibility recently. But Liam, who completely trusts Yasushi, comes up with a logical explanation to defend his master's credibility, stating that perhaps magic is involved in Yasushi's secret technique. Liam figures out that it is magic that cuts the logs, not the sword. He channels his magical powers into his sword and swings it with the intention to cut the log with his magical power. By practicing this move repeatedly for months after months and years after years, he finally learns the technique that technically never existed. Now, as a grown man, Liam finally wants to demonstrate how much he has learned to Yasushi, slicing a wooden log from yards away just by swinging his sword toward its direction. Yasushi cannot believe what he is seeing. His teachings were supposed to be a bunch of lies, so why is it that Liam is able to cut the log? On the inside, he is terrified of Liam's powers, but keeps his poker face, telling Liam that he still has a long way to go before mastering this technique. A couple of weeks later, Liam is in space aboard his battleship with Amagi when he gets a report from one of his subordinates that Muke, one of the smaller abandoned planets in Liam's territory that has only been used as a plant to produce energy, has been attacked by a pirate fleet. The military stationed at Mukai are engaged in a fight with the mobile knights released by the pirates, but Liam's subordinate does not think the military will be able to last long due to their small numbers. Amagi suggests that they ambush the pirates from Mukai's blind spot by using gravity and stuff, and Liam, going with her plan, orders all his ships to capture the pirates, while he himself goes to defend the plants on the front line. Brian, overhearing his command, begs Liam not to risk his life, but Liam is not a coward. Moreover, he considers himself quite a swordsman, trained by the legendary samurai, so he wants the Empire to see the skills he now possesses. Shortly after, he gets inside his mobile knight Avid and jets off to Mukai. From the enemy's blind spot, he attacks them, slicing one mobile knight after another before they can even spot him. In no time, he reduces the number of his enemies, and to attain some style points, he uses a special move called Beam Rifle to launch a beam of plasma ray at an enemy pirate. Only after that does he use the secret technique, Way of the Flash, destroying dozens of his enemies from a distance, scaring the pirates to the point that they start retreating to their ships. Liam launches his other special move, Rocket Punch, which is super effective in itself, but Liam does not like it. He calls Nias right at that moment, complaining to her that he wanted a throwable fist, not a punching hand missile. Amagi interrupts their conversation, reporting to Liam that they have only managed to capture less than 10% of the enemy ships, as 30% have been destroyed, and the remaining have escaped. Liam considers this a win, and praises Amagi for doing great on her part as a vice commander. That's it for this video. Let us know in the comments if you want the next part, and please subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching.